the fourth and final division standings prediction video before the season gets underway, which is tonight. In this video, we're going to be going over and predicting the Metropolitan Division, which I believe is easily the toughest division in the NHL from top to bottom. As always, be sure to get down there in the comment section and down below and let me know your predictions for the Metro Division this upcoming season, how you think things are going to play out. If I had to guess, I think a lot of our predictions are going to look pretty different because, again, this is a really tough division. It's pretty wide open. Also, be sure to drop a like if you're excited to watch some regular season NHL hockey tonight, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Finishing in the 8th seed in the Metro this upcoming season, I'm going to go with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Of all the teams in the Metro Division, they're really the only team that has been selling off pieces from the trade deadline up until now. Obviously, Foligno and Savard at the deadline, and then Seth Jones in the offseason. The Columbus Blue Jackets are definitely retooling a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be near as bad as some people are making them out to be. Of all my predictions, I think they're easily going to be the best team that finishes last place in their division, if that makes sense. The Blue Jackets still have two real solid goaltenders in Merzlikins and Korpisalo, and whenever you have that, you're going to have a chance to win most nights. Up front, they may be lacking a true superstar, but overall, they have pretty good forward depth, especially with players like Cole Sillinger and Yegor Chinnikov making the team, which is really exciting for Blue Jackets fans. I think this team is going to surprise some people this season. I still have them last place in the division though, because again, like I said multiple times already, it's a real tough division, and pretty much all of the teams I have finishing ahead of them have playoff aspirations, while the Columbus Blue Jackets don't. I don't think they'll view this season as a failure if they don't make the playoffs. Moving on now to the 7th seed in the Metro Division, I'm going to go with the New Jersey Devils. They are one of the most improved teams. They had a really good offseason, obviously bringing in Dougie Hamilton, Thomas Tatar, Ryan Graves, Jonathan Bernier. There's no doubt in my mind that they are going to be a much better team this season. That being said, they're still a relatively unproven team, and I feel like how much success they're going to have comes down to internal growth. How is Jack Hughes going to progress this season? Is he going to take a big step? Same goes for guys like Sharon Govich. You can even throw Pavel Zacha in there. Can Nico Hischier stay healthy and have a good season? I'm excited to see how this team does. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch, and honestly, I wouldn't be all that surprised if they finished maybe a spot or even two higher than I have them ranked here. Next up, we have the 6th seed. I feel like I'm going to get absolutely torn up for this one, but I'm putting the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6th place, missing out on the playoffs, putting an end to their streak of 15 consecutive postseason appearances. For me, this really just comes down to the fact that Malkin and Crosby aren't going to be playing to start the season. In Evgeny Malkin's case, I believe it's up to 2 months that he could miss. Crosby isn't expected to be out all that long, but still, they're going to be without him for the first couple games of the season. And I believe Jake Ensel isn't playing tonight either. That's going to be a real tough game for the Penguins against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So you factor in no Crosby, no Malkin to start the season. That already leaves them pretty weak up front, especially down the middle, but then you also have to take into account that this team lost Jared McCann in the well, they didn't lose him in the expansion draft. They traded him to Toronto, which then Toronto lost him. And then obviously Brendan Tanev was who Seattle actually selected, and he was a pretty useful player for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Until this team gets both Crosby and Malkin back, I feel like offense is going to be pretty difficult to come by. Guys like Kapanen, Jason Zucker, they're really going to have to step up. Also, I'm really not the biggest believer in Tristan Jarry. Obviously, he just had a miserable regular season in 2020-2021. He wasn't good in the playoffs either. I think you can make the case that he may have even lost the Penguins that series against the New York Islanders. Would I be all that shocked if the Pittsburgh Penguins prove me wrong and finish as a top 4 team in this division? No, I absolutely would not. But part of me just feels like by the time they get everyone back and healthy, there may be too much ground to make up on other teams. If they were in another division, I would probably have Pittsburgh in the playoffs. The Pacific, definitely. The Central, sure, I'd probably have them as one of the top 5 teams in that division, definitely. But again, I'm going to keep echoing this. The Metro is extremely tough. The 5th seed, so the final team I have from the Metro missing out on the playoffs. I got 4 teams from the Atlantic making it and 4 from the Metro. In 5th place in the Metro, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. Actually, this is a team that I was always usually pretty high on over the past couple of seasons. I mean, if you watch my bold prediction video that I did however long ago that was, it wasn't all that long ago. I actually said that they were going to go from missing the playoffs to winning the division. It's safe to say I regret making that prediction already. I'm not confident in it whatsoever. I've really soured on this team over the past couple of weeks. They obviously still have some really good pieces. I mean, I have them in 5th place in the Metro, which isn't terrible, but they have more holes in the lineup than I initially thought, especially with Kevin Hayes out to start the season. Their center position is pretty weak. They traded away a player in Jacob Voracek who was tied for the team lead in points last season, and although I think Cam Atkinson is a pretty good player, I feel like they could miss Voracek's playmaking ability. I have my doubts about JVR if he can replicate the type of season that he just had. Although I really like the addition of Ryan Ellis, he makes his team better, I still think Philadelphia is lacking a true shutdown pairing that they can throw out against some of the top lines in the league and actually be confident in them shutting those lines down. And lastly, I mean, goaltending. I feel like that's what Philadelphia's season is going to come down to. I love Carter Hart. I'm confident that he can bounce back and be much better than he was last season. I mean, it would be pretty hard not to, but what if he doesn't? Or what if he does, but it's not by much, like he's around a 900 save percentage goaltender? I'm not confident that Martin Jones can come in and take any pressure off of Carter Hart. Jones hasn't been good since like 2017. I don't know, this is just a really tough team to predict. If everything clicks, they have the talent to be, I think, one of the best teams in this division easily. There's just so many question marks. Moving on now to the top 4 seeds in the division. So the 4 teams I have from the Metro making the playoffs, finishing in the 4 seed, I'm actually going to go with the New York Rangers. I'll be honest, I don't think they had a great offseason, trading Buchnevich for Sammy Blais in a second. And I mean, Sammy Blais is going to be a decent bottom 6 forward, but he's not going to bring near what Buchnevich brought to the table. They overpaid for Barclay Goodrow. They probably overpaid in the trade for Ryan Reeves as well, but we know what those two guys are for. This is still a very skilled and intriguing team, though. It's time they take a step. We've been talking about the New York Rangers and how bright of a future they have for the past 2-3 years now, and I think this is going to be the year that we've been talking about, the year that they actually get in. They have a superstar forward in Artemi Panarin, one of the absolute best players on the planet, a star centerman in Zibanejad, a stud blue liner in Adam Fox, who literally just won the Norris, and also a really good goaltending tandem with Shesterkin and Alexander Georgiev. For the Rangers to have success, I think it just comes down to the supporting cast around those guys. And I mentioned internal growth when it came to the New Jersey Devils. I'm going to bring that up again here with the Rangers because they have 2 extremely big wild cards in Kaapo Kakko and Alexis Lafreniere. I feel like the development of those 2 players and how they progress this season could have a huge impact on the success the Rangers have. Imagine if both of those guys find their game and break out at the same time. This could be a really scary team. Next up, we have the 3 seed. I'm going to go with the Washington Capitals. News actually came out today that Nicholas Backstrom has been placed on the injured reserve. I believe he's expected to be out around a month or so that makes me a little bit less confident in this pick. But other than Nick Backstrom, this is a pretty healthy team. There was a little bit of a scare in the preseason with Alexander Ovechkin. He came down awkwardly on, I believe it was his knee, but he's fine. He's expected to be ready to go for their first game of the season. This is a team that's getting older, especially when it comes to their core guys, Ovechkin, Backstrom, TJ Oshie. You can even group Evgeny Kuznetsov in there. He's a lot older than I actually thought he was. I don't think the Capitals are going to be quite the powerhouse of a regular season team that we've seen them be in seasons past, where they're perennial President's Trophy contenders, but I do still think they have more than enough there to be a top 3 team in the Metro. It's going to be a big help getting Ilya Samsonov back for what hopefully is a full season. I mean, last year was just a roller coaster for him. With Backstrom out, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Kuznetsov to really bounce back and get his act together from the past couple of seasons. Moving on now to the 2nd seed, I'm going to go with the Carolina Hurricanes. I would probably have had them in first place if they brought back pretty much the same team they had last season, but they had a real weird offseason. Obviously, the whole goaltending thing, lowballing Dougie Hamilton, and then bringing in Tony DeAngelo. That being said, this is still a very good team. They have the depth on the blue line as to where they can be fine without Dougie Hamilton. I think you're going to notice a difference. They're going to miss him a little bit, but they're going to be fine. And up front, lines 1 through 4, I mean, they're looking extremely stacked. You throw in the wrench that is just Barry Kotkaniemi. Imagine he has a breakout season, how much more deadly this forward group could be. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Seth Jarvis made the team. I'm not quite sure where they plan on playing him, but he's a prospect I'm pretty high on. This team should score a lot of goals, be one of the top offensive teams in the league, while still being very good defensively, I think, even with losing Dougie Hamilton. I feel like really the only concern to have when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes is their goaltending situation. Can Antti Raanta and Freddie Anderson stay healthy? Can Freddie Anderson bounce back from the season that he just had? If they can even get a little bit above league average goaltending, they're going to have a really good season. And now finally, the team I have winning the Metropolitan Division this season, I'm going with the New York Islanders. I am done underestimating this team. I've done it way too much over the past couple of seasons in both the regular season and the playoffs. They're just so steady and consistent. You know what you're going to get from most guys on this team on any given night. Barry Trotz has them playing the same way every single night, and it's extremely hard to play against. This is a team that doesn't give up a lot of chances against. They're real good defensively, but when they do give up chances, they have arguably a top 5 tough goaltending tandem in the league in Sorokin and Varlamov. Will they struggle to score goals some games? Yeah, but they'll probably still win that game 2-1 or 1-0. This team is a wagon. I feel like I gotta give them their credit. I have them winning the Metro Division in 2022. So that is going to wrap up today's video, the fourth and final division standings prediction video before the season gets underway. I'm so excited to watch regular season games tonight. If you have not already, like I said at the start of the video, be sure to get down there in the comment section down below. Let me know your predictions for the Metro Division this upcoming season, and if you missed any of the other 3 division prediction videos, I will leave a link to all 3 of those down below in the description.